I've opened up right here what is the Teal dashboard. And when you first sign up for a free account with Teal, you get something similar that looks like this. In order to show your kind of landing page, you do have to add at least 3 jobs to your job tracker for a little bit of analysis, upload your resume, rate a couple jobs, but then you get what looks like this overall picture, and it's landing a job. It gives you kind of an idea what your target title is, when you'd like to get a job, salary range if you'd like, and kind of just a little bit analytics about the roles that you're applying for. What are the commonalities? How many jobs you've applied for. This is kind of giving you your full inside view on what it is that you're looking for your job search plan. You've got your resume builder right here, and you can create as many resumes for free as you'd like. They'll all be linked here. You've got your job tracker. Any jobs that you save with your free Chrome extension with Google will all be listed here. You can rate them. You can set follow-up dates, the dates you've saved and applied. All that information is here. Got a contacts tracker, so we can start to network and build those rapport with anyone you're networking with, whether you're looking for a job now or in the future. A companies tracker to save and follow any companies. We've got a wonderful support center that just opens up right here. So if you do have any FAQs, it all pops up right here. We've got videos detailing a lot of great asked questions are going to end up on the support center, which Emily will be able to answer any questions there. And then we do have a work style survey, which is a fantastic tool that helps you analyze how you operate in the workplace and how that can help you when you are working in a job or interviewing, kind of working with people. It gives a great in-depth analysis into how you operate. So that's just a really quick intro to the Teal dashboard. But what I really wanted to talk about was market analysis. And how we're going to do that is by utilizing LinkedIn today and how job titles can affect your search results. And I'm going to be showing you as a job seeker's perspective and as a recruiter's perspective on LinkedIn Recruiter, LinkedIn, how it operates, and giving some tips and tricks there. Wonderful. So what I went ahead and did is I searched for a marketing manager role, and whatever role that you are looking for, think of what you're searching in your search results and how it can operate for the direct role that you want. If I'm searching for marketing manager and nothing else, what's going to be popping up in the search results is anytime the word marketing manager is brought up in the job description in any form. So whether it's about the job, what you're doing, how to be successful in this role, what you can expect about the company, anytime the word marketing manager or whatever title you put into your search query, that is what is going to pop up. Now, if we wanted to really get specific on the types of roles, I may put quotation marks. So I only want a title that says marketing manager. And then what will happen is it'll skew the results to ensure that the job title lists only marketing manager. And then you can use these filters to kind of really align. I want something that has only been opened in the past 24 hours. I'm not looking for something entry level, so maybe mid-senior. There's a specific company I really want to look for, I can definitely utilize. Looking for a full-time role, I only want remote. So now we just put all those search results in, and look how many results are available, only 2. So keep that in mind when you are utilizing your search parameters, that the more target and specific you get, the fewer results will show up. And then you can utilize that to be a little bit more fine-tuned in your approach. If I want to kind of open up my span of search parameters, I may remove remote, because we are seeing people are shifting back into a hybrid or in-person setting. So I just got 3 couple more jobs that just opened up in my search query. If I wanted to remove the mid-senior level, now I've got 8. And these are, again, just posted in the past 24 hours. So these are the only roles that have really opened up recently within my search parameters. If I wanted to open that up within the past week, again, we get 245 results. So what you're seeing right now is taking the funnel search result and really narrowing it down to get as specific as possible, and utilizing kind of a Boolean search logic, which is what recruiters use when we're searching for candidates, is by looking for, in quotation results, I want these specific words to only show up in my search parameters. And if I wanted to maybe open that up a bit more, I may remove those search parameters. And now you're seeing things that are product marketing manager, campaigns manager. So this isn't necessarily a marketing manager role, but it could be similarly with what I'm looking for. So definitely play around, because companies will utilize different job titles for different roles. A large global conglomerate organization utilizing a marketing manager could be a marketing director or a VP of marketing at maybe a smaller startup. So companies will utilize different titles to affect in their search results. And if I am looking for someone with the title of marketing manager, what will pop up is anything within those search parameters. So if I'm looking for someone to fill my marketing manager role, I may put in marketing manager in quotation marks, and then maybe say and then whatever specific criteria that I want for the candidate. And anyone that has those specific search terms on your profile, that is who will pop up on my LinkedIn Recruiter search results. Or even if I'm not searching within LinkedIn Recruiter, all that information will pop up there. So that's kind of a little bit of inside knowledge and how you're searching for roles. Now let's talk about a little bit about being proactive and doing a bit of this research before you hit that apply button. So as a recruiter, my number one piece of advice I would give to anyone is read the job description. The job description will identify the clues to give you what tools you need to showcase on your resume, how you can showcase that in your interview, and what is expected of you in the job itself. So if you're looking at a job description, they all follow a similar criteria. It'll talk a bit about the job, a bit about the qualifications, a little bit about the company itself and what to expect, a little bit of the responsibilities. Any added information will all be detailed there. And so what I'd love for you to identify is, what is the problem the company is trying to solve? Anytime someone opens a role, they're looking for that person to step in, drive the business forward somehow, improve something, add something, fix something, whatever it is. That person is identified to solve a problem for the company, whether it's a backfill or a new role or an evergreen role. They're all identifying what that problem is. And so you can utilize the job description to help identify what it is. So they're looking a bit, if we take a specific look at one role. So they're looking for someone, I'm just taking a quick look at this job description. They want someone with experience. So this is not an entry-level role. They want someone with experience in B2B or B2C. It's business to business or business to customer engagement marketing, lead generation, user lifecycle management. So I'm putting my hat on and thinking these are the skills that they're going to specifically be looking for on my resume. Someone with analytical skills, someone who has done A/B testing before. These are all the criteria that they're looking for. And so I want to figure out if I have that experience, if I've utilized that in my past experience, and how I can then showcase that on my resume, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So use the job description and really read through it and try to identify what it is specifically that the company is looking for. And are you, with your experience and your skill set, can you prove to be the solution to the problem that they need to solve? So that's a little bit about kind of doing a little bit of research, reading the job description to identify the problem. And now we're going to talk a bit about applying for jobs, keeping organized, and using your resume to stay organized in your job search. So we use wonderful tools like the Teal Chrome extension, which is free. Right now, it's only available in Chrome, to add jobs to your job tracker to save those for the future. And why it is important to save jobs, whether it's with your job tracker or any other tool that you may be using. In this market right now, any job that gets open may get hundreds or even thousands of applicants. And so hiring teams right now are closing down and removing jobs for new applicants to sort and filter through the current application pool that they do have. So when they take down a job, you may miss out and not see that job description anymore. And if you get a call for an interview and you have no idea what the company is about, what they're looking for, you'll have that already on your job tracker with Teal. So that'll save you a large time of panic and worry and trying to scramble to put something together to showcase the most qualified and the most prepared applicant. I got laid off in April and I was just mass applying for jobs, not worrying about where specifically I was applying to. And then I got a call for an interview and I could not find the job description anywhere. So I wasn't necessarily sure if they were looking for a technical recruiter, full life cycle recruiter, just sourcing. I was just kind of scrambling to do a quick research right before the interview and just having to like make stuff up on the spot, which definitely kind of hurt me in the long run because I didn't get the job. But if I had tools like Teal to my advantage of using that job tracker and having that saved, it would have helped me to prepare better. I could call out the experience that they were looking for, whether or not they had specifically called out technical recruiting or life cycle recruiting, and talk about that specific examples in my interview. That would have really helped kind of 10x my interview presence of being a more prepared and on top of everything. So that's why I love using tools like Teal. So with the Chrome extension, what we do is you just open this up right here once you've downloaded it, and it'll showcase a little bit about the job, kind of a little overview. And again, this is all showcasing what you can do for free with Teal. So it talks about the company, when it was posted. It looks like this was reposted. There's a couple different reasons why people repost jobs. They may not be getting the traction or the right quality candidates they're looking for, or they've altered the job description in some way, so they need to edit and then repost it. A million different reasons why people may repost a job. But the job tracker will showcase the compensation, and you can always go in and edit this. If you want to change the currency, it should repopulate with what's already on there, but you can edit and change that with whatever currency. The salary pay period, again, if you're doing this manually, that you can kind of showcase that here. The minimum and the maximum salary, this is what a company is willing to pay on the lowest end and what a company is willing to pay on the highest end. If they're somehow editing or adjusting their salary band, if they need to pay someone more or less, they'll adjust that through editing and then repost the job description, because we have to have transparency of this is how much we're willing to pay our candidates. So that's a little bit about the pay transparency. You can rate this. If I'm super excited about a role, maybe I'm going to showcase that and make sure I go back and that's the first one I want to apply for. You can move it throughout all the stages of the interview process. And then it shows on the free version the top 5 hard skills. This will be the number of times that something has popped up in the job description, identifying the hard skills that maybe you want to utilize or cover. So that'll populate on the job tracker, and to see all the keywords, looks like it identified 67 hard skills, soft skills, and other skills that will require an upgrade to Teal Plus, but we'll talk about a little bit about all the stuff you can do for free. And then it does have a notes section, and I love this. It's great for doing a little bit of research. If I know something a little bit about the company, or I want to make sure that I save something to follow up, I may put some notes in here that says, I met someone at a networking event, or whatever note that is. You can save that, and it's always going to be there for reference. So I would just hit Save Job. And now that's in my job tracker. So let's go into the Teal platform itself and showcase how we are utilizing that for our job search. So we mentioned we have our job tracker here, and I've saved all the jobs. There's the job I just saved in there. If I'm going to go ahead and work on applying, I'm going to start that application now. It's all saved in here, and you can move it throughout the job process and hopefully get to that accepted at the very end. So let's talk a little bit about before you apply for a job, what you need to have and the tools that will help you to your advantage. So we talk about a resume, and what essentially a resume is it's a sales pitch. It's a document like a commercial for a movie, how to condense everything that you've done into the most important and most relevant into a 1 to 2 page, 1 to 3 page, however many pages you need it to be, to showcase how you are articulating the most qualified applicant for the role. What it is not is a life story explaining all your loves and hobbies and interests. It's specifically talking about your experience, and it's relevant for the role. So with our resume builder, we'll articulate how to emphasize your experience, what to showcase, and how to adjust formatting as needed. So I went ahead and created a quick resume. What you can do is you can upload a former resume. You can start completely from scratch, Or what is my favorite is you can pull a LinkedIn profile and then it'll automatically create, based on your LinkedIn profile, a resume. So we're using Tina Miller's profile and it's all kind of filled out and ready to go. Even if it wasn't filled out, it'll still kind of populate all this information to create a base resume. So all I did was hit new resume. And you can import your resume or LinkedIn here. You can overwrite everything and start from scratch. You can append your work history and just edit from where you are. So all I did was I went ahead and just pulled my LinkedIn profile to create this resume here. And what it showcases on the left-hand side of your screen is your working doc, you're editing everything. And on the right-hand side is your preview of the finished resume. So we talked a bit about how your resume is a sales document pitch. It's your commercial for the main event show. Let's talk about formatting and how that will help you to your advantage. And then we'll go into a little detail on tailoring your resume. So right here, we've got our teal formatted resume. If you click this paintbrush icon here, you can edit a couple of just pre-identified resume formats. You can adjust the font. All of these fonts have been demonstrated to work with applicant tracking system to parse information. If I wanted to add a accent color, you can change your date formatting, you can change kind of the section and how you group things. You can also adjust your section order. So if I wanted to highlight my skills first, I can move that all easily through here. And then you've got your kind of finished formatting. And what I want to talk specifically about is why Teal doesn't offer these eccentric resume formats with colors. And what we're going to do is show a basic Google search. All I put in the search results was resume. So what pops up from first catching my eye is lots of colors, lots of pictures, lots of columns. And I'm just going to pick this one specifically because as a recruiter, I have seen this resume time and time again. So what I'd love for you to do is take a look at what your eyes catch to first. So as a recruiter, the first thing that I'm looking at is probably the picture. Now in the US, in some parts of the UK, in some countries, adding a picture to your resume adds biases, and how I look doesn't actually impact whether or not I can do my job. So as a recruiter, I do not recommend putting a picture on your resume. Put a disclaimer that some countries require a picture. So if you're at all trying to figure out whether or not to add it, just take it off, unless it is specifically asking you to identify what you look like in order to be qualified for the job. It's not worth it. So that's the first thing I'm looking at. I'm not even looking at whether or not you're qualified. I'm looking at your picture. And then my eyes go to just a giant black box. It talks about your contact, your expertise, language. Okay, that's the first thing I've looked at. We've already taken a few seconds. And then I'm going to go over to your experience, which is really crammed into these sections. And again, kind of showcasing other samples of poor choices in formatting is just looking at this one. This is another Canva resume. I get a lot of people who say, I'm in design. I want to showcase my design. Does this showcase that you are qualified for the role, or is it just an eccentric design choice you've made? What recruiters and hiring managers are specifically looking at is what you've done in your past work experience and how that translates to doing the job today. Whether it's an entry-level role or a senior role, we want to showcase and see what it is that we've done and how we can be the solution, again, to the problem we talked about earlier. So when you're thinking about your resume formatting, think about how you would look at it from the eyes of someone who has never seen your resume before and has never identified what it is you've done and how that makes you qualified for the role. Another example here is, and this is my biggest pet peeve as a recruiter, is these hard skills. I don't know how you call this, like a rating system, or they showcase them as bubble charts. I don't love to see these because what this identifies is I don't know what an expert is. I don't know what a beginner is or not an expert is. So if you're rating yourself as, I've seen communication or like teamwork as like 4 out of 5 stars, that can actually kind of be an identified red flag of maybe you're not good at working with people, or maybe you can't communicate effectively. So you don't want to identify any potential reasons not to hire you. And so that's why I do not recommend using these rating scale systems. They tell me absolutely nothing. A skill section, just putting a word on there really doesn't actually showcase anything other than identifying how you've used those skills. So if you're going to use a skills section, just use the words itself. No need for a rating system. They really don't help you in any way, and they can actually hurt you. So it's a little bit about kind of the formatting and why we love to see just a plain and simple resume. It's clean. My eyes go straight to your experience. I'm looking directly if you are qualified for the role or not, rather than looking at your picture, rather than looking at a bubble chart or something that really isn't impacting my search results. Because if I'm spending time looking through hundreds and hundreds of applications, am I going to spend that time looking at the picture? Or am I really going to be thinking about, I need to fill this role. This is a critical hire or not even critical. We need to fill it, and time is money. So let's think about what it is that we want to exemplify on our resume first and foremost. Cool. So we talked a bit about the market analysis and doing some research on your role. We've talked about adding to your job tracker. We've created a basic foundation resume. Now let's talk about filling your resume with the most important information. So as a recruiter, I am going to be looking for someone who fills the criteria that the hiring manager has set for me for the role. So let's say, for example, one of the roles we recently filled was a senior backend engineer with experience on Ruby and Rails. So in our search results, I've been looking for anyone with X experience with programs, specifically the framework of Ruby and Rails. If I'm doing search results and it's not on your resume, there's no way for me to determine that you know it. So if it's not on your resume, hiring teams will not know if you know something. So you want to be looking at the job description and seeing how you can identify the parallels of your experience, how it's relevant to the role specifically, because they're putting it on the job description because they specifically want someone with that experience. So we talked about saving jobs to the job tracker, and you can actually utilize that to do an analysis of how qualified you are for the role. So if you hit matching mode, it'll pop up all the roles that we just saved in our job tracker. And again, I added just 3 roles before the webinar started just to get us a little ahead. So I'm going to think about what are the specific roles that I'm going to target. Let's say I'm going to use this marketing manager role at Pinger that we had just recently saved. And what it's basically going to be doing is showing a side-by-side comparison analysis of everything in your work experience and then everything on the job description, and help identify where we can pinpoint and showcase a tailored resume approach. So what it'll showcase here is your resume on the left-hand side and the job description here. And I can toggle on any hard and soft skills. To unlock all of the keyword analysis, it does require an upgrade to Teal Plus. It's a great investment to help identify how to exemplify your experience qualified. But the free version offers just kind of the top 5 hard skills analysis. And again, it'll showcase all of that information from the job description forever on your job tracker here. And then any notes that you wanted to put, that will also be here. If I want to say, I really want to showcase that I've done X or Y, definitely put that in your notes section. Or if you say referred by Johnny, put that all in there. Again, that's all your notes in there forever to keep on hand. So we talked about kind of the keyword matching analysis. So what this does is showcase how to identify what is kind of the top skills mentioned in the job description, whether it was mentioned multiple times or it's a hard skill identified, and showcase where that is specifically on our resume. So if I wanted to look for, they want someone with email marketing, it's going to identify where in my resume I've put that. And so toggling on and off to identify those keywords will help you realize, okay, I've got it on my resume, it's on the job description, we're seeing some parallels and we're seeing some matching mode. So you can utilize the job description to literally hold a side-by-side analysis of your resume. So it'll help you along with tailoring your resume. So when you think about a tailored resume, what a tailored resume is not is a copy paste of the job description on your resume. There's no white font hack, nothing like that. It is just simply identifying in your past experience how it is relevant for the role. Now, do you need a tailored resume for all 12 roles you apply for? Not necessarily. My big tip that I would suggest if you are trying to have a tailored approach, but you don't want to create 12 different resumes. Let's say you're applying for a marketing manager role. Identify 12 different marketing manager roles. What is the commonality along them? Looks like a lot of them have B2B marketing, or whatever it is you're specifically looking for. A lot of these have similarities involved. So you're going to want to pinpoint what is the commonality along these job descriptions, and how can I showcase that without having to make 12 different resumes all at once. So you can do some market analysis right before you get ready to edit your resume, but it's all kind of right here in the job description. So let's say I'm applying to a marketing manager role. If I'm going to apply to a product marketing manager role, or if I'm applying to a social media aspect of marketing, I might have different resumes for that. But if you are applying to, let's say, a social media manager role, a recruiter role, a admin assistant role, I would probably have 3 different resumes to showcase the different qualities for all 3 roles. Someone who works in as a recruiter may have done some social media work in their past experience. Were you showcasing and posting for the company? Were you utilizing analytics and market analysis from social media? So that way you can transfer your recruiting experience into the social media role. And also from the admin side, you do a lot of admin work in recruiting. So how can I identify what of the admin experience from my recruiting role is relevant for the job? So I hope that kind of makes a little sense on how to tailor your resume and how to identify. A lot of roles have some similarities. So identifying what specifically you did in a past role that is relevant to the role. Now, let's say I am looking for a marketing manager role, but I've worked in retail. So where can you identify what you've done in retail that is relevant specifically towards marketing management? Now, these specific roles that we've saved, just for example, are a little bit more senior. So these people are probably not looking for someone without the experience, but utilizing and showcasing what you've done in your past roles will help kind of add that transferability into the role you're applying for. I've made 3 transfers in my career, in my pivots. I've gone from admin to recruiting to office management, and how I showcase that on my resume itself was I basically identified what I do know and what I don't know is not on my resume. So when I was applying for social media roles, what I used with my recruiting experience is how I showcased using social media, how I used analytics of social media, the different platforms that I've tested and played around with and used for my personal account, and then really amplified that to showcase that I am qualified for social media management because I've demonstrated that in my past roles. It doesn't necessarily mean that I have to have had a social media manager role title at a company, but what have I done that is transferable? And I did the same going into recruiting. Is I did a lot of admin work, and I really inserted myself in projects that involved the recruiting in some aspect, whether it was greeting the applicants for in-person interviews or setting up the rooms for interviews, and just really amplify that experience. That'll definitely help if you've got questions about transferable skills to showcase that on your resume. So I did see in the comments on the chat, someone has asked about the 8 to 10 seconds it takes for a recruiter to select an application. So I talked a little bit about what your eyes go to first on a resume. So when a recruiter is looking for a qualified applicant, they're going to look at your resume. Where do your eyes go first? Naturally, our eyes go from the top down. So what do you want to showcase from the top down on your resume will be the first thing that you want to focus on. When a recruiter says they're doing a 6-second pass, is I can see within a quick second of a quick glance if you are qualified for a role and if it makes me want to read further. What we mean by that is at one of my previous companies, I was hiring for a senior engineering manager role. This is someone who is a senior person who's managing folks and a team of people. So we really needed someone qualified. And I got applications from people who just graduated high school. Someone was in high school who applied, and I could tell pretty easily off the bat that that person is not qualified. So that is probably someone from a quick glance that I'm going to probably easily reject because they just don't match up what it is I'm specifically looking for. Now, maybe if they had the years of experience, they definitely have the framework, maybe wasn't clearly qualified, or I don't see the engineering management experience, whatever it is that I was specifically looking for, I'd probably take another pass and review and really read through everything. But when people are saying a 6-second or an 8 to 10-second view of your resume to see if you're qualified, that's really what we're looking for, is how easily can we tell that you meet the qualifications, and should I read further to really dive into the depth and scope of your past roles. So hopefully that answers your question a bit. So we talk a bit about the formatting and what to showcase top down from your resume. Now let's talk about using AI and how to use it for your advantage in your job search. So in our Teal resume builder here, we've got your different work experience. You can add new work experience by adding your company. If you want to add a description about the company, I think this is great, especially if it's a smaller company and it's not heard of. If I'm applying to SaaS companies, sales as service, I may put a little bit about that in the company description, but no need to go really in depth in the description. If you want to put a brief analysis into a project you worked on, you can definitely showcase that here. And then editing your position, the location if you wanted, the type if you felt like adding that it was part-time, full-time, internship, teaching. If it's something new that you're currently working on, I always recommend having an updated resume. I update my resume every other week. You can always add that, update your currently in position. You can have your start date. I recommend putting month and year. Why is that? Is because I once had an applicant for a role who the hiring manager wanted to interview them, and they'd said that they worked at a company from 2020 to 2021. So the hiring manager went on their LinkedIn profile and actually looked and saw it said December 2020 to January 2021. So they had articulated that they were at a company for 2 years, a year, whatever you want to say, but it was actually only 2 months. And that gave the hiring manager pause for clarity on the depth and scope of their experience, whether or not they were really qualified or have the depth and scope that they were looking for. And it also was a little bit of pause for integrity. They didn't really want to interview the person after that because they thought, why are you lying on your resume? So you don't want to give people pause to identify any ideas to not interview you. And I'd try to keep it as consistent as possible on your LinkedIn, from your resume if you need to. But I like to see months and years, not just years. You can make a significant impact in 2 months in a role. You can also make significant impact in 12 months. So just be honest, if you do have career gaps in there, that's a great conversation to talk about. As a recruiter, I don't bring up your career gaps because it's not really impacting whether or not you're qualified. If you've taken a month off, if you've been job searching for 2 to 6 months, whatever that is not going to affect me whether or not you are qualified for the role. I want to hear about what you've done, what you've worked on, what you've learned. So I probably wouldn't spend that much time focusing on your reasons why you have career gaps and showcasing that on your resume. You don't want to identify any reason for someone not to hire you, or to bring up any kind of negative connotation or any reason not to hire you, if that makes a little bit sense. Wonderful. So we just added our job title, and then we want to talk a little bit about what we did. So adding impact on your resume really means it's not just adding a number. It's not just adding buzzwords or keywords, just pulling from the job description. It's showing what you did, how you did it, what tools you used, and how it impacted the company somehow. Because we talked about earlier how everyone opens a role to add impact, or to fix or solve a problem of the company, to move the company forward somehow. So how have you in the past, whether or not you were stocking shelves and in a retail, or you were working on a marketing team, you added impact somehow. Your job had specific KPIs, whether or not they were identifiable or not. And so you really want to showcase that on your resume. So when we see impact, we also want to talk about the depth and scope of what you did. And so when you're working on adding an achievement, if I just hit add achievement, it shows kind of some similar guidance on what to showcase, using action verbs, giving you a little bit of an insight. We have past examples that are just random examples to kind of showcase how you could potentially word your impact and the different job duties that you've done. We've got some prompts here that is really going to help you identify what it is you've done in your past roles. I get a lot of questions from people asking me, I don't know what I did. I don't know if I had KPIs. I didn't have metrics. And so we can take any specific job duty you've done and really ask yourself, as if you were in an interview setting, how can I showcase the impact I've done? So let's say that I was running a social media account for TikTok and Instagram. So I would have asked, like, well, what tools did you use to post? Were you using Airtable to help track? Were you using, Hootsuite or any other tools to help with analytics and the scheduling? So we're identifying the different programs you did. So let's say I grew the social media account from 1,000 followers to 50,000 followers. So we've already got kind of a metrics there. Well, how long did it take you to do that? Well, I worked on a project. It took us about 3 months. And then what was the result? Well, we got, a 50,000, a growth count in our followers. So you're trying to pinpoint and identify by asking yourself those questions and really put yourself in the perspective as if you were sitting in an interview to identify how you can articulate that work experience. Did I save the company money in some manner? Did I make a process better? Did I implement a new procedure or system? Did I reduce an error? Like, what it is specifically that you did to help impact or move the company forward. And if you can't necessarily identify, try to showcase as much as you can on your resume without having to throw in all these buzzwords. Just simply say what you did and how you did it at the company. And that'll really identify the hard skills to showcase on your resume and help tell the story of how you and your past work have solved a problem for a company and how that can translate for the future companies you're applying for. We have another great feature, which is kind of our assistant mode. It is a Mad Libs, if you will, version of creating metrics. So it has some identified suggestive tools. Again, you can also write your own in. So I, can pick and identify an action verb, whether or not it was I delivered something, I delivered something campaigns. It shows you if you wanted to add a metrics from X to Y within, X months by, and this is how I did it by doing something. And then it'll show the result right here. You can hit save and that'll be in your resume builder forever. Another cool thing that you can use is the Generate with AI. AI is this wonderful tool that'll pull data from the job description or your resume to identify a suggested tool. It's not necessarily making stuff up, but it will provide suggestive tools that you can use. And then anytime you are using AI, whether ChatGPT, Teal, Claude, any sort of AI, the final result is up to you. So it will generate something as a suggestive tool. And for Teal, I think you get 5 generated AI. And with the Teal Plus subscription, with that investment, you can utilize as many as you want. It'll showcase demonstrated by pulling from the data to offer a suggestive data endpoint. So whether or not I specifically did that and want to showcase that on my resume, that is up to me. I'm the person pressing send on the application. And if I can't speak to a data point that I've articulated on my resume, I'm not going to want to put that there because we don't suggest lying on your resume at all. But utilize the AI to help as a starting point, edit and tweak to whatever it is specifically that you want to articulate and showcase, and then make sure that you can speak on it if asked in a job interview. So now we have that there. And then if I really want to showcase that, I can drag and drop that. And now it'll showcase as the number one thing on my job work experience. So that's utilizing AI to create depth and scope using impact. A couple other ways that you can utilize AI is with the cover letter. The first disclaimer I do want to say is I don't love cover letters. As a recruiter, if you are going to take the time to write a cover letter, I'm going to take the time to read it. However, most cover letters tend to not tell me anything. They're filled with buzzwords. They're filled with things that just don't make a lot of sense. So if you are going to be using a cover letter, whether it's required or not, what you are going to want to identify is how you can showcase as much impact as possible in as few words as possible. So with Teal's free version, you get 1 generated cover letter, and then you can edit and tweak that to showcase whether it's a specific thing you want to highlight on your resume, whether you want to edit and adjust it for different roles. If you're utilizing Teal Plus, which is so worth the investment, you can create as many cover letters as you want from your tailored resume. So it showcases not just your general impact of your experience, but it's really tailored specifically to the job you're applying for. So what the cover letter generator is going to do is generate a large cover letter pulling the data from your resume to highlight and showcase all your achievements. And then what I suggest doing is edit and parse down and make it as condensed as possible so you're getting straight to the point. What I don't recommend putting on your cover letters is why you want the job that is not have anything to do with your experience. You don't need to talk about wanting to move to another state or how you had career gaps. Personally, that doesn't really add impact whether or not you're qualified for the role. So this is going to be kind of like that added oomph, if you will, of I've showcased on my resume, I've got the experience. Now I want to expand on that and really highlight on some key points that is the KPIs I really want to showcase, or something that I'm really proud of in my past experience that adds to the impact of your qualifications to your candidacy. So if you're going to write a cover letter, make sure it's as condensed as possible. It showcases your experience and it doesn't go along this weird rabbit hole of different random keywords that really just don't make a lot of sense. You want to have it as easy as possible to identify that you are the qualified person for the role. Now I want to kind of showcase a bit about Teal Plus, and then we're going to get into some questions that I've been seeing popping into the chat. So Emily, if you're able to help me upgrade this to a Teal Plus account, I want to kind of show everyone the investment that you can get with tools like Teal Plus. I understand that it's a difficult job search right now. It is hard to spend money on different tools, and you may not be getting the exact results you need. So if you are going to be investing on tools for your job search, keep it down to as few as possible and make sure that you're adding as much impact within those tools. Why I like Teal is it basically is your job search expert support system. So you've got a job tracker, you've got templates for emails, you've got a cover letter generator, you've got a networking tool, you've got your resume builder. It's all in one. So rather than paying for a resume builder, someone sending me their $250 Excel sheet on tracking your jobs, it's all kind of in that one located platform, and it's always going to be there forever for you to identify. So we talked a bit about all the matching mode analysis that you can get for free with Teal. With Teal Plus, what it showcases is all those hard and soft skills. It showcases where in your resume you've showcased your soft skills, your hard skills. If I want to talk about B2B versus B2C, how is that identified in my resume? It'll all showcase that in here and highlight any other keywords that are not listed. It'll definitely showcase that here. So it's really going to help you identify what it is that I want to showcase and where it is on my resume, so that if I was looking at my resume and the job description, there's no question about that I'm qualified. I've showcased all that experience there. All those hard and soft skills will be kind of color coded and highlighted based on hard skills and soft skills and identified in the job description itself. So it's a great tool to utilize that. And then, as we talked about with the cover letter generator, I can generate this as many times as I want. I can switch jobs, so I can identify how it makes me qualified for the other role, and create as many cover letters as possible. So it's a really great investment for your job search, and is really going to be your job search partner within the start to finish, from market analysis to interviewing for the role. You're going to have that there, and it's great to have on hand when you are ready to start interviewing for roles. One of the great things that I love about the job tracker is if I open up the job right here, it has the job description. It gives me a little bit of guidance on all the steps I need to take. I do have my notes section. So if I'm in an interview, I'm going to have this open because I don't need to question or figure out what it is they're looking for. It's right there on the page, and I can take some notes. If they've sent me the questions ahead of time, I can put that there and have my answers ready to go. That's all there. If I want to add a contacts, like the interviewer or the recruiter, I can simply add that in with the Chrome extension there and have that ready to go. And I can identify, you know, their career trajectory and where they're working on specifically on the role. I've got a little checklist, so it tells you a little bit about everything that you need to be doing from start to finish. Then it's got email templates. And this is what I wanted to kind of transition on into networking, is networking with recruiters and hiring managers. So Teal free version offers one email template, and then Teal Plus, you can leverage all of the different templates, and we're working on adding new reach out templates. With any email that you send or with any reach out message, my best advice is be intentional with what it is that you're asking for. So if you are applying, so let's say I wanted to apply for this role at Pinger, and I can quickly open up that job right here. I can look and see if I know anyone at that company. It doesn't list that they have a hiring manager, but what I can do is do a search result for Pinger. And I can find the company here. Let's see all the people working there. And I want to find someone who works in marketing. So I may hit marketing. Okay, now it's identifying where people live, maybe where they've studied. And now it's showing I've got a digital marketing person, a chief marketing officer. So this one's the head of an advertising marketing, a visual designer. So maybe I'm going to click on Harry and I want to start connecting with him. I can see all his information here, his work experience. He's been there for 2 years and 10 months, a little bit about what they've done at the company or what he's worked on. So I'm probably going to add him to my contacts tracker. And you can do that quickly right in here. If this is someone who I know, or he's the recruiter, or he's the hiring manager, my goal is I want to set an informational interview with him, or whatever it is that you specifically want to do, even if you're just doing some research. I need to contact him, so I'm going to select to be contacted, and then I'm going to give myself a follow-up of probably a week. Not everyone is as active on LinkedIn as job seekers, and from my past experience, hiring managers are not as active on LinkedIn. So keep that in mind when you are reaching out. I know a day to a job seeker does not feel like a day to a hiring manager or a recruiter. So please be patient and know that hopefully someone will be reaching out, but don't get your hopes up. All you can do is present the information and then move on to the next and just stay on top of your job search. So if I'm going to save Harry to my contacts tracker, now he's in my contacts. I can add him right in here. Let's see if it's, I'm just going to refresh that. Let's see, Harry. There is Harry. I've now added him. Oops. So he's now in there forever, and I can always identify his info here. It's great for interviewing and networking. But if you're going to be reaching out to someone, and this is why we do have some templates, keeping it as condensed as possible. I get tons and tons of messages a day. And the number one advice I'd give to anyone reaching out to a recruiter, to someone in the role, to anyone you want to network with, is be specific and intentional with your reach out. So I get daily messages from job seekers saying, what roles do you have open? Or do you have any jobs that is a fit for me? What you are essentially doing is now putting the work on me to identify what you're a fit for. And I don't know you. I don't know your past work experience. So take a minute, go on the job board, look at some roles, and I've seen Harry. I want to apply for this job. I'm going to apply for the job. I'd love to set up an interview. So I've already done that work. I've identified what is a fit for me. I've gone ahead and applied, and now I want to set up an interview. And I'm just reaching out to you to let you know I've applied. Hopefully I'm on your radar, so you can maybe take a look at your resume now or in the near future, and then we can set up that interview. He can then reach out to the recruiter and say, let's get her in for an interview. She looks qualified. Let's do it. So really be intentional with your messages to recruiters or hiring managers. As an in-house recruiter, they are specifically tasked to fill their specific roles. It is not an in-house recruiter's job to identify what could be a fit for you or to help you determine your career goals. So if you are looking for someone to help you to identify what could be a good fit for you, that is where a career coach is a really great example of someone to work with you. But really do that work and kind of identify that ahead of time. And it is also not a hiring manager's job to figure out what roles you're best fit for. So if you're reaching out to a hiring manager and you're asking, what's a good role for me? What may fit me? You will likely not get a response from them because they're probably really busy. So really be intentional and then be specific on what your call to action is. Do you want to set up an interview? Let them know that you've already applied and then move forward. And we'd love to start an interview. Let's already start talking about how I'm a fit for the role. I've already applied. Let's keep the ball rolling forward. So get your call to action and be really specific and intentional why you're reaching out to them. And then a big tip of advice when you are connecting with people, one thing I love to see is if you're going to send a connection request, send a message, add a note, let them know, hey, I just want to connect. Hey, I'd love to stay on your radar for jobs and marketing. Really appreciate what your company is doing. You have 300 characters. So how can you showcase who you are and what you've done? I get tons and tons of connection requests without a message, and I never ever speak or see from those people ever again. So if there's a little bit of an intentionality when you are connecting with people, that does give them a clue of, hey, this is someone who also works in the same industry. This is someone interested in a job, or just someone who wants to connect. Those are always great to like establish relationships rather than being thrown a resume at someone's face for a job they may not be hiring for. So really think about intentionality when you are connecting and networking with people and utilizing tools like Teal to help you advance and kind of 10x your networking game. So I hope that was a great in-depth analysis and identifying the different parts of the Teal job tracker and the resume builder. It's such a great investment for your job search, and I really think is a powerful tool. One of the other things that we can utilize if you can't necessarily, spend the money on Teal Plus is using the referrals. For every 5 people who sign up for free for Teal using your unique code, you get a week of Teal Plus for free. So we love to see people talking about Teal, and when you share your link for people and they sign up, you then can get Teal Plus for free. So it's a great way to give back to our members who have been talking and sharing how much they love Teal, and really giving back to our wonderful members. So that's a little bit about the Teal platform. I definitely want to get into answering your questions. We've got several in the Q&A. So hopefully we can get to all of these now. If you do have any questions about using Teal, getting set up, or if you have any feedback issues, send us an email to membersupport@tealhq.com. Emily, who's here moderating the chat today, will likely be answering your emails, offering you some support and suggestions, but definitely reach out and check out the support center as well. We also have in-depth videos and walkthroughs on our YouTube channel, on our TikTok, and our Instagram. So head to all of our social media. It's also showcased in some of the videos in our support center, but we're here to help. We're constantly providing new in-depth video walkthroughs. We always showcase any new features that we have on our social media, so feel free to check us out there. So let's go ahead and get started and answer some questions.